Welcome to it. We're back with another episode of the Marching Robots. Is it the Marching Robots or just Marching Robots? What did we decide?
Just
Marching Robots. Yeah. All right. Welcome everybody to Marching Robots.
Congratulations on surviving this week.
Yeah, seriously, everybody out there.
You did it.
I'm actually very, very proud of everybody who galvanized and took to the streets. And I feel like as scary as this week has been and as potentially polarizing, I think it's actually had the opposite effect in a way. I'm very excited that so many people are galvanized and coming together. You know, when democracy feels like it's compromising our core values, I mean, people are taking to the streets, and it's something to be actually very proud of.
It was cool watching the SAG Awards, how everyone just kind of took advantage of their speech
Julia
time.
Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But the impromptu, protests at the airports and stuff was really just
that was crazy.
Inspiring.
New York and LAX. That's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, but airports all over. I mean,
did you see, is his name Elon Musk?
Elon Musk?
Yeah, Elon Musk.
The guy with SpaceX
the Tesla
and Tesla.
Guy, yeah. He broke ground this week on his private tunnel, which he claims to be building under LA so he could avoid LA traffic. Like when I started it, I thought it was going to be another rich guy is building a bunker,
Genius.
But instead,
right.
And then it was like the whole article was how he hasn't sought approval or anything. And he said, fine, fuck you then.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with just flying in a helicopter?
Because he wants to be able to drive one of his Teslas around. It's crazy because he's about to hit, his battery's about to go live, and that's going to be ridiculous for his company. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's a very bright guy. I mean, he's someone I would really love to meet and
could you imagine?
Break bread with over dinner and just pick this guy's brain. I mean, what a genius.
And it's nonstop with him.
Innovator. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's always constantly thinking and he hires people. I read something very recently where, he was praised for the way he handles his business and the interaction that he has with his clients and with his customers. Mm-hmm. Apparently someone had tweeted him about the problem at some of the charging stations. And literally within something like 6 hours, the problem was fixed.
What?
And he gave out this company-wide memo and made the changes. And it was like problem solving in action. And it was such a great business model of how to efficiently get things done and take care of problems, especially when it's coming from customers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it was just a customer complaint that he was made aware of on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And that day or within a few days or something, it was in the business world, it was considered almost instantaneous.
Right, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there wasn't any feet dragging or, bullshit hoops to jump through. It was just, he heard the complaint and made some changes and got it done.
Upgrade?
What's that?
They just rolled out a software upgrade? Wirelessly?
No, it wasn't even a software upgrade. It was apparently people at some of these charging stations were leaving their cars there. And so people with Teslas would pull up and see all these other Teslas parked there that were already fully charged, but these people were going shopping and doing whatever they needed to do. So apparently he came up with this idea that, for every minute, and it's written in the contract when you buy a Tesla. So if you're there and your car is fully charged and for every minute that you go over with a 5-minute grace period or 10-minute grace period or something like that, but you actually get charged.
What? How do they send you a bill?
Yeah. I don't know. I forgot the actual details of it, but yeah, it's something basically you're not going to be able to, just get away with parking your car there like it's just some normal parking spot.
Yeah.
Because that's apparently what people, were taking advantage of.
I mean, it makes sense.
So other Tesla owners would roll up to these charging stations and there wasn't an open spot at all.
That makes sense.
So
it's funny. Do you remember?
But they're holding people accountable.
Yeah. Do you remember when they built all the electrical stations originally, and then there were no electric cars, so some of the places got rid of them, and then now they're putting them back in.
Right.
All because of Elon Musk. There you go.
Well,
could you ever drive an electric only car?
I could. Oh yeah, I could definitely drive an electric only car. The problem I would have would be driving a car that's automated. that would drive itself. That I'm not in favor of.
That's crazy.
That I want no part of that.
No.
I don't want to be on the road with other self-driving cars.
Are you the kind of
those
person?
are like the robots taking over.
Yeah. Are you the kind of person where like if you need to just clear your head, you go for a drive?
I tend to want to listen to music, but that could mean, getting in the car is, one of the outlets to go just drive and listen to music. I don't do it often, but yeah, I mean, I actually look forward to long drives, or I look forward once in a while to sitting in traffic because I don't really sit in traffic with the hours that I work.
Yeah.
So when I am sitting in traffic and I'm able to just listen to the music or radio, talk radio or something, I don't get frustrated with that too often.
Mm-hmm. I think you're the only person in all of Los Angeles that says that use that sentence.
Well, it depends on how quickly I need to get somewhere, but yeah, I mean, once in a while when I have to sit in traffic, it actually makes me appreciate the fact that I don't have to sit in traffic too often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, long drives, up to Santa Barbara or San Diego, I definitely enjoy the actual drive and the time to think or the time to listen to a full album, in its entirety.
Yeah. The only time I would be on board with like the automated driving is if it was like a truck line where it's going from like IKEA's center out off the 5 to the IKEA, and that's the only place it goes back and forth.
Right.
I would,
but there's so many things I think that could go wrong.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I just don't
and the
think
second
that we as
thing,
a human race should be handing over things to robots and computers.
Because the second one car accident causes a human death,
it's already happened. It already happened in one of those Teslas.
I thought it was a Google one
where they couldn't differentiate the color white or something, so the Tesla drove right into the back of a semi truck or something.
Oh, and the person died.
Yeah,
in the Tesla or the truck?
The Tesla, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
So they were just chilling, dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's definitely some issues that I don't really think at this point I want to trust a computer.
Yeah.
I mean, as problematic as the human brain can be, I mean, obviously we all get into accidents and we're not paying attention sometimes or whatever, but I don't know. I just don't think I want to hand over that much control to a computer.
I agree.
I just don't.
I agree. Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best.
I mean, I'd barely even engage my cruise control, to be honest with you.
Really?
Because I mean, I like it for sometimes when we're, driving long distances and I just need to give my leg a rest, but it really does so dramatically disengage me from the driving experience that, I mean, I like having my foot on the pedal and feeling, the
But
road.
you also drive a manual.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's a little different too.
You're definitely more engaged, I think, driving a manual.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if you're going up to Santa Barbara or something and you just have it in 5th gear and you're on the freeway, yeah, I mean, once in a while I could turn on the cruise control.
Are you a manual driver that will refuse to ever buy an automatic? Are you like one of those kind of guys?
No, I'm not hardline like that. I actually, there are some times where I wish I had an automatic. But I mean, I love fast cars. I can't imagine like buying a Porsche. Like they make Porsches now with automatics. It just makes no sense.
They make motorcycles that are automatic.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, that's the thrill of having a Porsche or something like that, or a fast car is to, throw that thing in the gear and the clutch and just.
If somebody was going to give you a super fast car, would you take a classic or would you take a brand new?
That's a tough one. I mean, as a kid, I was, a preteen and into my teenage years, I had so many subscriptions. This is back in the day when you were a kid where like, you could get magazine subscriptions through like, like the Boy Scouts or something or your school or whatever for super, super cheap. And, my brother and we had subscriptions to almost every car magazine you can imagine. I mean, especially the muscle car stuff like Super Chevy and CarCraft. And so as a kid, I mean, I was obsessed with old cars, especially those 60s and early 70s muscle cars. And still to this day, I can tell you what year a car is just by looking at the taillights or the headlights or, certain little nuances about the car. But I mean, if you put an old classic Chevelle or something in front of me and a brand new like Porsche 911, wow, that would be a tough one. I probably would take the Porsche, but it would be agonizing to turn down a classic SS Chevelle or something.
What if you got one of each? You got one car pre-80s and you got one car 2016.
Right.
Or 17 now.
Right.
What would you take of each?
I've always loved the Porsche 911. I mean, it's such a classic. line on that car. And I don't know. I mean, I still think that to me is one of like just the ultimate, sports cars. When I think of a sports car, I don't think like a Ferrari. I think like a Porsche 911.
Yeah, Ferrari is like
a turbo Porsche 911. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because like probably when I was in, I don't know if it was middle school or high school. It had to have been high school, I guess, because I was already driving at that point. But a friend, his dad had a Porsche 911 and he took me for a ride in this thing. And it was the first time in my entire life that I'd ever been pinned back into the seat when, he threw it into gear. I was like, holy
damn, really?
Shit. Like,
wow.
The acceleration was so immediate and so powerful. It was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that made an indelible impression on me as a, teenager, but I actually got to drive a Porsche 911, later on. My friend's sister has one.
Oh, really?
And she said, "Yeah, take it for a spin."
Did you let it out?
I'm like, "Oh my God, take it for a spin!" Hell yeah!
I'm going to Mexico.
Well, I mean, we were just driving it around residential streets, but yeah, I mean, it was exactly as I remembered it. Like the acceleration is so immediate.
Wow.
It's just right there. Boom. And you're thrown back into your seat.
Okay.
And,
what would you take as your muscle or your classic?
So many people have asked me that. I have such a long list of muscle cars that I love. I love the old mid to late 60s, the 66 and the 67 Chevelle SSs, the Chevy Chevelles.
I thought you were going to go Nova.
My dad actually had a 69 Nova. I'll never forget this blue 69 Nova. I wish I still had that in the family. But no, I like Novas. I wouldn't say they're my favorite muscle cars, but I love like the Oldsmobile 442s. Mm-hmm. I love the Pontiac GTOs. And these are all basically from the 65 to 70 era.
Of course. When you're talking about muscle cars, that's usually where you're sitting at.
Yeah. I mean, I even love like the first year of the Trans Am, like the 69 Trans Am.
But I'd take a GTO over a Trans Am.
Oh, yeah.
If I was going to go Pontiac.
The GTO Judge. But it's such a kick in my ass, too, because when I was about 15, 16, 17, I had so many chances to buy what would now be considered pristine muscle cars. Like I can still remember to this day when I was 16 years old, I had a chance to buy it was a grandma car. It was immaculate. You could literally have eaten off the interior of this car. It was a 71 GTO Judge. And I think at the time she wanted maybe 3,100 for it, 3,000, 2,500. It was ridiculous. I mean, this was back in like, I don't know, the mid 80s, early to mid 80s.
Okay.
And I still kick myself for not buying that car.
Yeah. For sure.
But I think I was at that time, at 16, I was like, I don't know what had planted this silly bug in my head that high mileage cars were bad. I didn't realize at the time that this was probably the most pristine, well-maintained high mileage car.
Right.
Because actually my mechanic was the one that was selling it for this old lady. And yeah, and when I think back, and it was kind of like this really cool, like root beer metallic brown color.
Oh man.
And I know it's so sickening.
Damn.
It's really one of those like, gosh, if I had known then what I know now,
right.
kind of deals. But yeah, I mean, that car today would probably be worth at least 40, 50,000.
Easy.
I mean, Judge on top of that too. That was like the high end GTO.
It was a Judge.
It was a Judge. It was a 71.
You let that go?
GTO Judge. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was an awful mistake on my part that I still reflect. I mean, I laugh about it now, but and I guess it makes a somewhat decent story. But yeah. I mean, it was.
You'll be able to tell your kids.
Yeah.
This is an example of making wise choices.
But I mean, on the flip side of that, I actually did pull the trigger, much later in the late 80s when I found this, another grandma car that was just absolutely absurd. I was driving down Reseda Boulevard and I saw this old 1970 Datsun 510 two-door in the original like refrigerator green with the little hubcaps, and I'm like, and it had a for sale sign in it, so I'm like, did a quick U-turn. I was like, oh my God, what is this little cream puff doing here on Reseda? Like holy shit. And again, it was someone selling it for their elderly mother or grandmother, and
How much?
This was 1988.
Okay.
So the price on the car was $1,800.
What year was it?
It was a 1970.
Datsun.
But the story gets better.
Okay.
And this is no embellishment. This is not something that I read in a magazine. This actually happened to me. This was one of those, like, you know, you find these pristine, like, cars in the garage that someone's selling because their son died or something or whatever. And I used to read those in those Carcraft magazines all the time. I found this Corvette, and this old lady had put an ad in Recycler, and her son had died, and he was restoring this Corvette, and I bought it for $500. Yeah, I mean, like, you would read all these stories all the time in those magazines, but then this actually happened to me. Okay. And so I talked to this guy who was selling this car for his older mother or grandmother. And I get in the car, and this, the odometer says 20,200. Original miles on this.
18 years old.
So I say to the guy, I'm like, is this the original mileage? And he's like, yeah. My mom really just drove this to the supermarket and back. Literally just drove it to the market and back.
Oh.
And so
my God.
At the time, this was an 18-year-old car that she had just basically put a little bit over 1,000 miles a year on.
Right.
Which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I look around in the car and I'm like, oh my God, this could actually be true, because I'm literally sitting in this car, which looks like it just rolled out of the factory. Like, there's not a flaw in this car at all on the inside. And I open up the glove box, and inside the glove box is the original owner's manual, of course, and the original window sticker.
Oh my God, really?
And then I start really, like, kind of going through this interior with a fine-tooth comb going, oh my God, this is an original cream puff. I can't believe my luck. Like, I'm sitting in this car that they are asking like this dirt cheap price for. And then I look at the door panel right next to me. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and right next to me in the left door panel, I see this bunch of plastic around the window handle. And I'm like,
no way.
Jesus Christ. Is this the original plastic from the factory still sitting around the door handle?
Oh my God.
It was the original from 18 years before. They had not taken off all the plastic when they, when they prepped the car from the factory.
Yeah.
So there's still this bunch of like plastic around the window handle on this
Please
car.
tell me this story ends with you buying it.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay,
I, at the time, I mean, the price was so unbelievably fair. Like, I didn't even try to like haggle. I'm like, all right, sold.
I'll take it right now. Yeah.
Like, I mean, most people's instinct is to say, hey, you think you could do maybe a few $100s less or whatever?
Right.
And I was like, I couldn't even in good conscience, like,
yeah,
like trying to lowball this.
Just give him 2,000.
I know. I almost wanted to give him a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I drove that car for at least 11 or 12 years, and almost on a weekly basis, I would get someone giving me thumbs up or leaving notes on my car or following me around. I mean, I almost got chased down a couple of times. Like, I thought, like, oh my God, is this guy trying to like carjack me or something?
And they were just
like,
wanted to know the price?
Yeah, they were following me. I was trying to, evade them, and like they would roll up right next to me and then just give me a thumbs up, like, hey, you want to sell that thing? And I'm like,
what's the highest cash offer you had?
I don't even remember. I mean, I finally did actually sell it. There was a guy that I was teaching with that used to like, harass me almost on a daily basis. Like, when are you going to sell that thing, man? And I had just moved into my house and I needed some cash. And, I think I finally sold it to him somewhere in the, obviously in the, 90s, early 2000s. Like I said, I drove the car for, I think, for about 11, 12 years. Jeez. So I must have sold it in, 99 maybe.
Okay.
And I think I sold it to him for like $2,500. So I mean, I still made money on it.
I thought you were going to say like 10 grand.
No. They're not even worth 10 grand now. But I mean, yeah, maybe they are in that kind of condition. But
what'd you end up with the odometer at when you sold it?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
Did you get to 100?
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
And yeah, in 11, 12 years of driving. Yeah, for sure.
In LA.
Yeah. But it was still a great looking car. I didn't like really abuse it that much at all. I mean, I drove it hard. I love driving fast and driving hard. But,
did you go from the Datsun to the Civic to the Civic?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of actually what, believe it or not, what kind of transferred my interest. It's not that I lost interest in muscle cars, but I just gained a new interest in the smaller Japanese cars,
right?
Which I'm not really even exclusive to, but, I did basically pick up a new appreciation and a new love for these like really small, 4-cylinder compact Japanese cars that you can really trick out. And
because your SI is sick.
yeah, so I basically went, got myself when I sold the Datsun, I was already driving a 1995 Honda Civic hatchback SI, which I basically bought when it was like a year old with
really
30,000 miles on it. So it was I almost got that thing brand new.
Okay,
and then I drove that to hell
the
and
ground.
back.
Yeah,
I think I put 300 some odd thousand miles on,
oh
on
my
that.
God.
Yeah, I drove that thing forever.
Jeez.
And finally sold that to a neighbor guy who had been, seeing me with that car up and down my alley and had always been asking me about it. And so I found a 2005 Civic Si and upgraded to that.
Which is super dope.
Yeah, I enjoy that one a lot. That one kind of reminds me of like what I was saying about the Porsche 911.
I was going to say,
it's not the fastest car in the world, but I think
for what it is,
for its weight and for like its
4-cylinder,
the ratio and everything, it's a quick car.
Fuck yeah.
It's got really good acceleration and
I mean, when you took me, I was definitely in my seat.
like the 2002 to 2005, they only made that type of car, that Civic Si, that last of the hatchback Civic SIs from 2002 to 2005. So 4 years they made this, and it's kind of a rare car in the Civic, collector world or whatever. But
and I don't like how when they switch the body style in the 06s, the SI and
they discontinued the
same.
SIs.
It's like they look the same.
Well, they stopped making the SI hatchback in 05. So
Right.
I got the last year of the. But apparently they're supposed to be coming out with this new Type R SI now in 2017.
My brother-in-law is like all wet in the panties.
Yeah,
for
me
it.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
I want one of those new hatchbacks. But anyway, those 2002 to 2005 SI Civics came factory with Recaro racing seats.
I know.
Or Recaro style. I think they're Recaro. But
They are Recaro.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they also have the stick shift on the dash. It's kind of like this race infused kind of interior.
Yeah.
And it, I mean, my only complaint about
Don't
that,
you have like red stitching on your?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
sick.
red stitching.
Yeah.
But it's super expensive to replace because
course.
my gear shift knob, the red stitching and the leather all fell apart. And to just to get the leather cover on that gear shifter is like $280.
What?
It's ridiculous.
Oh my
The
gosh.
steering wheel thing, I think the steering wheel to replace is like $800. It's silly, dude.
So did you just throw an 8-ball on it?
No, the steering wheel is still in decent shape, but and the seats are great too. The seats are immaculate, But
$800 for a steering wheel cover?
yeah.
That's not even for the steering wheel, right? It's just the leather.
No, I think it's the steering wheel.
Oh, okay.
You get the steering wheel.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a fun car to drive, and like I said, it's definitely got some pickup.
Yeah.
And
I like it. I think if I was going to pick my 2017 car, I would pick the Cadillac CTS
oh yeah,
for sure.
those are sweet.
Oh my God. The 2-door is just,
Well, it's a big car.
Swing.
It's considered more of a luxury car, but
but it's
they
got that Corvette engine in
they've
it.
definitely race inspired that thing.
And then my my classic car,
I'm trying to remember.
Volkswagen Beetle, baby.
That's
All
not
day.
even. That's not a muscle car.
No,
though.
but
That's,
it's my classic. If I was,
I mean,
gonna
you're just
pick
talking
a-
about a standard Bug or
Well,
like
I
a
had
surf fan.
my first car that I got. My dad gave me a '69 Baja, and at the time I knew nothing about cars. So foolishly,
Why is it that I can totally picture you driving a Baja Bug?
right?
That's so
totally
fits
fits
you,
me,
dude.
right?
Right.
Or a Beetle bus. I would
Yeah.
take either.
Yeah.
But I mean, because of my lack of knowledge, and I was 16, 17 years old, I sold
Right.
that Bug for $500
Oh my god.
with a full Baja fender kit that was never even installed.
that alone is probably worth $500.
Dude, my dad lost his shit. He was
was
super
livid.
unhappy. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, and then,
Why'd
Yeah.
you sell it so cheap?
I needed money. I was getting ready to move out. Just needed money. So, and it didn't,
You tend to go through cars rather quickly, though.
yeah.
You seem
Yeah. I've
to-
had like 15 cars.
yeah,
It's pretty crazy.
Why is that? You don't really get too attached to one particular ride, or I mean, I drive my car like every car I've ever had, like the Datsun and the Civic, I've had for at least 10 to 12 years.
I'm trying to think the car that I got. I think the car I got the most attached to was emotionally was my GMC Jimmy. But as far as longevity, it would have been I had an 08 Honda Civic, and I love that car because it was so cheap to modify.
Right.
So I was modifying it on the weekly.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to paint this black and I'm going to upgrade this.
Right.
And, you know, so not like that.
But you went through like that Honda Element. You had that thing. You were I've never
had it
seen
twice.
you more excited
Yeah,
to have a car. And then like you got rid of it, seemed like 3 months later or something.
I love my Honda Element so much that I bought a second one, orange. I mean, everything about it was perfect.
Yeah,
But
and you like blacked out all the emblems and the wheels and you were so excited about it. And then the next day.
But I mean, I was sitting on 2 car payments with a new baby.
Right.
So, and I did not need the Element. It was a luxury. So,
Yeah.
and prior to that, I had bought that stupid Dodge van. Remember it? That was the rape van that had a camper in the back.
Right.
It smelled like, it reeked of cigarettes. It
reeked of pedophilia.
Yeah, it did. It just, cause there was like blinds on the windows and there was a fridge and this bed. And
Right.
it did
You
reek
were
of pedophilia.
so stoked when you bought that. You were so excited.
Yeah. In my defense,
check
I
out this
did not
camper
buy
van.
it for pedophilia. We bought it to take my daughter camping because we couldn't afford an RV.
Right.
And then like 47 seconds into owning it,
Sure.
Mrs. Infamous was like, get this thing the hell out of here.
Forget it.
I mean, it took up my whole driveway. The neighbors were like, okay.
It was an eyesore
Yeah,
on the
it
street. Right.
gray and Bondo colored.
Right.
So yeah.
But didn't it have one of those big like side windows too?
I mean, for like what it was dope. I'm sure it was dope off the lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it was like something that
Right.
at the time people were like, awesome. But
Well,
15 years later with everything all smoky and nasty and the carpet all fucked up, it
to
was,
be totally honest,
It's like
I've
raping.
always dreamed of like having one of those
Beetle Bus.
VW, like a small RV, like a small enough RV where it would be like a van.
with
yeah.
a pop up top, right?
Yeah, where you could just like say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take the summer off and just
Peace.
hit the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I think a lot of people have that dream, and that's still something that I really plan to fulfill, though. I mean, I would love to still have a camper van or something to just say, hey,
Absolutely.
see you in a month.
Yep.
You know, I'm just going to go see the land, see the country.
I'd probably do it. If I was going to do something like that, I'd probably fly into England and buy it there
Yeah.
and then drive it till, for the summer and then sell it and get on a plane and come back.
Right.
That'd probably be buy cash.
When I was in
it up.
England, there's a couple of places out there that restore old, I'm totally forgetting the type of car now. Not the Mini Coopers, but they are related to the Mini Cooper. The like Austin, not Austin Martin.
Not the Fiats. Are you thinking of the Fiat?
No. But I have pictures in my photo album when I went to England. But we ran across this guy that had these like entire car lot. There must have been 40 or 50 of these on his lot, just completely restored, and he ships them all over the world.
It's not.
So
I'm trying to think of what it would have been.
they almost kind of look like Citroens, like they were kind of an odd shaped car, but they were somehow like the first cousins of the Mini Cooper. I forgot
Before Mini sold to BMW, right?
As an admitted car guy, I can't believe I'm actually blanking on the car name here.
It's not a Pugo, is it?
No, it's not a Peugeot. It's definitely an English brand. It's definitely native to England. And I don't know why my brain is just not triggering the name.
It's funny.
It's a 2-name name. It's like Austin something. And it's not Austin Martin or Austin Healey. Maybe it is Austin Healey. But whatever. So anyway, we drove past this guy who had this car lot. I think it was in like south of England somewhere, not Brighton, but somewhere around there.
Uh-huh.
He had this whole car lot of
Just those?
Yeah, and some of them are actually like wood pan, like they look like old Woodies and stuff. Yeah, and they have these like back hatches that go out, and they're super dope.
So cool.
And I was just enthralled with these things. I'm like, oh my god, how much does this cost to ship back to the States? And he was giving me the whole breakdown. And
how much was it?
I mean, all in all, I think it probably would have been about $10,000. These cars actually were not that expensive.
Yeah,
they were like Mini Coopers out there, like super cheap. They're like basically just
you're probably paying as much to ship it here as you are for the car, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's where that's where most of the cost was, because the car itself was, I think, maybe $3,000 to $5,000 depending on which model you got, and then it was a few more thousand to ship it over to the States.
You've got my brain spinning. So as we're talking, I'm going to try to find it because I think I'm envisioning it. I think it's the car. Did you ever see? I hate that I'm going to say this out loud, but Ashton Kutcher did a movie with Brittany Murphy called Just Married, and they went on a European trip. And I think it's the car that you're talking about.
Okay.
So I'm going to go car from Just Married movie, and let's see. Let's see if this is the car here.
Yeah.
But it's funny that between the two of us, we can't figure
I think
it
it's
out.
Austin Healey.
It's really crazy when you go to these other countries, even somewhere as close as like Mexico. The car
They still make
landscape's
bugs in
completely
Mexico.
different. I know, it's crazy.
They still make the old style bugs though in Mexico, like how that
Yeah.
I used to see as a kid in the 70s and 80s. Like they were a dime a dozen out here. Like everybody drove a bug.
And it's crazy now because when you try to buy a bug in the US, the inflation is so stupid, or the markup.
What are you talking about? An old bug or a new bug?
Like the old one.
oh, like
when
a
you-
classic
yeah,
bug.
it's
No.
like-
yeah, oh yeah.
Even if it's just the shell.
Somewhere like, I mean, it's funny. The 80s were really the last decade that you could get a good muscle car or a good classic car for super cheap, because somewhere like in the early 90s, the cost of these cars just went through the roof. No, that's not it.
Failed.
Infamous is showing me a
failed.
picture. Type in wood paneled Austin Healey.
Okay, here we go.
But yeah, I mean, somewhere in the early 90s, I just remember, my memory, my litmus test was that back in the mid 80s, you could get any kind of Mustang, any 60s Mustang you could have bought in the mid 80s for under $3,000.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in the 90s, it was like 12 grand. And you're like, wait a second, how did this shit just quadruple?
Well, yeah, and part of it too is because
No, that's not it either. Shit.
I think it's because so many of the manufacturing plants moved out of the U.S.
Yeah.
So that changed the cost of it a lot. And then that was when Chevy and Ford were almost bankrupt. So
Well, that was actually, speaking of Mustangs, that was actually another car that I could have bought as a kid, as a teenager. There was a neighbor of mine up the hill from where I grew up that had a I'm going to see your face when I say what she had for sale.
oh my God, here
She had a 1970 fastback Mach 1 Mustang.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Super legit.
did you try to get it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just
But
another,
no dice.
yeah, it was another one of those I got away.
Oh.
I know it's sickening what I let slip through my hands as far as muscle cars, but I think like I said, I made up for it with buying that little Datsun. But
It's funny.
there are
'cause-
3 muscle cars when I was a teenager that I let slip through my fingers that I still regret. But number 1 on that list though is that GTO Judge.
I've always been attracted to ugly cars, like the Honda Element. I really like the Pontiac Aztek.
Oh, the Aztek is the
I know.
worst.
I know.
The worst.
It's a hideous car. I'll be the first to
But
admit
I
it.
will say it's kind of ingenious car with the camper
Exactly.
option on the back.
Yeah,
you
it's
could,
so cool.
But that's similar to what the Element has. I mean, you can actually buy an extension tent for a Honda Element.
Dude.
Not too many people know about that, actually. I would bet 90% of the Honda Element owners don't even know that you can buy that tent option.
If you have a family, or you like going outdoors, or you do anything that is considered like sports alternative,
right,
the Honda Element is the best possible car you can buy.
right, even though it only gets like
12 miles.
12 miles
gallon.
again, because it's a box basically.
Yeah,
It's the same thing with that Nissan Cube. I mean, it's the most.
the Cube is hideous.
No, that's a Mini Cooper.
The Cube.
Let me type in something
Let's
here.
see. Maestro's going to try to find it. I like the Element because the interior is waterproof. You can literally hose it down, and then there's little outlets on the sides where the water comes out. The back seats are stadium seating above the front seats. And then the back seats actually fold down flat, and literally the car can make a bed out of the seats, or the seats can fold up flat against the windows, and you could put a queen size mattress back there.
Wow.
So all kinds of, then it's
Here, I
four-wheel
found
drive.
it. I found it here.
Right off the bat?
Yeah.
So who's the
there's one picture here.
who's the manufacturer?
Hold on.
Here we go. Here's the moment of truth.
It looks like that. It kind of looks similar to that.
The mystery car.
I don't know what that is. I mean,
That's
may,
a Woody.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these cars that I mentioned in this English parking lot that I saw, I'd say half of them had like that old Woody style, the actual wood paneled on the side.
I thought it was going to be smaller. I thought it was going to be like this size.
We're making for great radio here.
we found this black and white car that looks like A Disney movie?
No, you know what? I'll find it at my house. I'll tell you guys next week what it was. And I know for sure.
If you find it, throw it up on our Twitter so that people can see what it is.
Yeah.
Throw it up on our Twitter.
Absolutely.
All right. Is that going to do it for us this week?
Yeah, I guess we're not going to talk politics, right?
No, we're going to stay away from it. We're going to save you guys from that.
We're going to keep marching robots somewhat politically
have
free,
some
right?
Have some fun. Have a good weekend. It's Super Bowl weekend when you hear this.
Oh, yeah. Wait. We got to have some
predictions.
Here, yeah.
All right. I'm going to go. Okay. I'm going to say my want, and then I'm going to say what I think is going to happen.
I think that's how everybody's like dealing with this Super Bowl. It's like so many people know that New England's probably going to win. Wait. I mean, I think Atlanta has a great team. I think it's going to be close.
I don't think there's ever been a quarterback that wants to prove a point more than Tom Brady this year.
Well, especially for
for two reasons: the suspension, and he can tie the record for quarterbacks Super Bowl rings,
right?
And then he'll be 5-2 in his Super Bowl appearances,
right?
Which is ridiculous. So I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be New England.
So many in America want to see this guy go down.
Of course, I think it's going to be New England. 31 to high teens, but I want it to be Atlanta.
That's a good guess.
I really want.
I want ATL all the way.
All the way. I like Matty Ice. I like Julio Jones. I like their running backs. I like that it's a new coach.
They have probably one of the best teams to contend with New England. If anybody has a chance in any of these Super Bowls, I think this Atlanta team is definitely.
See, I think
like right place, right time, and they have the right chemistry, and they're really clicking on all cylinders, as they say, all the cliches, you know.
Yeah.
But I think
you don't think Dallas would have been a better opponent?
No. I think this Atlanta team has the mojo. They have that.
Did you know that Atlanta as a city has only won one championship ever
with the Braves?
With the Braves in '95.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
The Braves went to the World Series a lot.
Yeah, they were the team because that was in the Dave Justice eras.
Right.
Or you go way back to the Hank Aaron
and Chipper Jones.
Yep.
Hank Aaron, yeah, of course. But I mean, Hank Aaron was on the Braves even when they were back in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, baby.
Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think's going to happen in the game?
I really, really hope that Atlanta just spanks New England. I hope it's one of those situations where New England just has a bad game and Atlanta has a great game and Atlanta just humiliates them.
I know, that'd be great.
But it's
a big but.
The voice in the back of my head says that New England's still going to win, but I don't know. I could definitely go on record and say that Atlanta's going to really sock it to them and beat them.
I hope so.
I mean, I think it's going to be really close, like a 34-31, like by a field goal.
Really?
You know? But I think Atlanta is going to take it to them.
Okay.
I think Atlanta's going to be in there I'm hoping that it's going to be really one of the better Super Bowls that we see. Like after the game, we're going to be like, that will go down in history as one of the best Super Bowls.
So there you have it. In 48 hours, you can check and see if we were right. Enjoy your Super Bowl parties. Don't drink and drive. And follow us at Marching Robot. Have a good night.
On Twitter and
Twitter.
Facebook? Do we have a Facebook presence?
We don't. Just Twitter. Oh, and don't forget to catch Maestro on his other show, the one that started it all.
Oh, yeah.
The Martian Landscape, because there's a big milestone.
Oh, yep.
What is it? What is it?
I'm not going to say thanks for reminding me because I already knew.
But
But thanks for mentioning that. We're coming up on our 50th episode, which kind of basically within a week or two also, coincides with my 1-year anniversary on Dash Radio. So, and it also coincides with, I do a lot of album anniversaries and notable dates in rock and roll history. So no less than 3 UFO albums released in January of, these past years. And,
really?
Late 70s and early 80s.
Cool.
So the 50th anniversary and the 1-year anniversary of the Martian Landscape is.
And where can people find that?
We're gonna have a lot of UFO on there, so it'll be good.
Perfect.
You can find it on Dash Radio on their 70s channel as well as their 11 channel. But I just heard that 11 might be changing its name because
that's what I heard too.
Super record executive Jason Flum is going to be a part of the Dash Radio team, and my show is going to be on his new station that they're renaming.
Nice.
It was formerly going to be. Well, it's not yet, but it's the old 11 station. I guess we're kind of in for a new name change pretty soon.
That should be cool.
But you can also catch older episodes. I usually wait about a month, as most of my listeners know, between the Dash Radio broadcast I wait about a month, and just to create some,
Demand.
Yeah. Some hype.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually a month after it airs on Dash is when I upload it onto iTunes, and you get it at Podomatic as well, so you can get some of the older episodes downloaded as a podcast for free, of course.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, go check him out. You can also follow him on Twitter at Ask the Maestro. And you could follow our other guy, Augie Rocks, at Augie Rocks. He is out traversing the world this week, but he'll be back on the show. And have a good weekend.
Go Falcons!